Action activate.
Hello, it's me, Gazbot, and this is Action Activate. And if I am Gazbot, and this is Action Activate, well then with me as always,
it's the big dog and his Buster mode, because we are talking about Go-Go Loser Ranger episode 9, in which they use their Buster mode of their
in which they continue
artifact.
to use their Buster mode. It's not an artifact. It's a Ranger gadget, I think they call it.
I thought they called it an artifact. It's not a divine artifact, but it's an artifact, I think.
You might be right. I thought they called it a gadget, and I remember thinking, like, oh, that's...
Tell us who's right and who's wrong in the comments below.
Or we could just watch the show. But
that too.
Now, the last 2 episodes, I've been like, all right, enough with these tune-in exams already. This one, we're not quite out of the woods, but I'm like, turning it around. I like this one better than the last 2 episodes. I'm like, okay, now we're so close. Like, by the, like, you said this at the end of episode 8 because we watched these back to back. Like, this was good, and now I'm ready for 10. The last one's like, okay, we're watching, but now let's go to 10.
Yeah.
My only worry is that I'm like, and then 11 and 12, and then there's gonna be a big cliffhanger, and then who knows when we're getting season 2, but whatever.
Yeah. Which may mean we might just read it before then. Who knows?
Maybe, but if you watch the after credits, I'm more likely to jump into Kaiju 8 than continue this. If this had figures, I'd probably... Figures, like, I want to get a Kaiju 8 figure, but not unless I watch or read it and like it. And this one, we want figures from this, but they don't exist yet.
Yeah. But going into this, we see the junior first rank. Is that the title of the right-hand people for the Dragon Keepers? Yeah.
It's not that very similar.
So last episode... she got wrecked by the boss monster.
Yeah. Oh, whoops.
And now we're seeing everybody using their.
Oh yeah, I thought they were going to go into her flashback. It starts her flashback where she first meets the Blue Keeper, but then they go back to the fight with the Busters.
Yeah. And again, like, I'm really liking these fights. I feel like these ones, like, there's not necessarily a quote unquote boring one out of these fights, which is nice. All of them are interesting. I love this. Yeah, so it's so funny. I can't tell if it's intentional or not, but the limited amount of anime I have watched, this right here made me think, like, oh, this is them, like, homaging Chainsaw Man and Denji, where it's just like, I want to win over the affection of women, and that's why
Chainsaw Man, but I've seen this trope before, so I don't know how common it is, but yeah,
Brock from Pokemon, Denji from Chainsaw Man. I want to be cool because girls.
My mom does not watch anime. Like, she's seen like bits and pieces of Pokemon and like really popular ones for just from living in the world, but she's staying over. And I watched this today in preparation. She was in the living room, like, she's like, oh, I'll just watch it, whatever. So she watched episode 9 of this anime, and it was subbed, and she watched it, and she obviously didn't 100% get what was going on. I told her, like, oh, that guy's kind of a monster, whatever, but she definitely laughed at a few parts, and this was one of them where he's basically like, I've learned that I must do more to get more women, and basically just doubled down on it, and she did laugh at that, so she got it, even not knowing anything else that was going on.
Yeah, I like that. Again, here we see Afro Man is nefariously a duster, but who?
And the question is and I still thought he was D at this point.
Yeah.
And I think it wasn't until he started getting a little. Oh, there's the credits. He started getting a little bloodthirsty, for lack of a better term. That I'm like, I don't think that's D, and that's when I went, oh, it's X. It's X.
Yeah, XX definitely was shining in this episode for me.
Yeah.
Where just really highlighting the inadequacies of the underdog team, of just, if it wasn't for XX, they would have lost for sure.
Yeah, well, I mean, if it wasn't for D, they would have lost, and then still they needed help from X. And then we get some backstory. Throughout this whole thing, we get backstories from the various Ranger trainees. some more than others. But yeah, this is the part where like the other guy whose name I forget, the love sick guy, is like, no, you can't do this. And this is like, I'm like, that's not D. This makes no sense. Like what for D's, the mission they're currently on and just the secret mission, like in no way would they act like this. And so I was like, oh, that's X.
And the eyes too. I feel like this is very much like I haven't been human very much.
Oh, so why? Yeah, and well, they've also said they're not as good at it as D. They have to struggle with it a little bit more and stuff.
Yeah, so that which I find funny is a trope of the fighters in this because when they interact with each other, they're really normal, and the second they try to be a person, they're like, I don't know your customs, like really random. But I love this guy. This guy is such an oaf. I love him as comic relief.
And again, going back to like the issues I had with him last episode with his skinny body transformation. In this mode, I like him too. And I love that she basically was like, I give up. Your muscles are so great, and got him talking until it ran out of power. I kept thinking that was going to happen to D. That D was going to run out of power. But I love that then she's like, now I'm going to shoot you. And she gives up because he's going to punch her, and then the bullets do nothing. But again, not bullets, blasts. How do the blasts do nothing? How do they do nothing? He's
every party has a tank. He is their tank.
He's a human. If he could take more hits than like, I could take a hit or two and get back up. But most people, when they get hit, it's like, like hitting with a sledgehammer. And he's sort of like, ping, 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 ping. He's not even like staggered, but still okay. That's supernatural to me.
Hey, words have no meaning on a planet under the Cape of War. So
that's fine.
I haven't said that in a while. As we continue here, I don't dislike this character, but I don't really feel anything toward her much.
I'm waiting for another piece of information or something to come. Like what? Okay, what are we gonna do? Okay, she could draw. She's counting. She's okay, but then what? Like, we need another piece to make her be complete.
Yeah. This whole bait and switch of like, oh, what are you gonna do? Oh, this,
I didn't like that he's like, drop your weapon. I got the drop on you. She had a little bit of energy left. She had this plan, but then he's like right behind her. He's like, I've been here the whole time. And, you think I'm a coward, blah, blah, blah. Fine. He gives his little speech, but she never dropped it. And he never was like, I said drop it. Like that's the part I didn't like. That the whole plan was that she didn't drop it and she activates it. That should not have worked unless she did it immediately.
Yeah.
Did I miss something there?
No, it's the power of anime dramatics.
Okay.
Yeah.
Sorry, go ahead.
Oh no, I was just gonna say this was the least interesting matchup of the bout.
I agree. I do, however, I'm always a fan of the like, I was just delaying you until, and he's like, good job. It's like, bink. I think that was a funny little thumbs up.
Yeah. We get some more here where it's more fighting. Oh, D, this part I liked where D got wrecked because the other guy has his little burst mode, and he's like, how did he get rid of that? It's like, don't worry about it. I'm behind you now.
Yeah.
Don't think.
Yep.
That part was cool. Yeah. Again, D struggling. I love seeing that in fights where he has to be creative. We don't.
He was like, and he was like, I feel so powerful, and he's just wailing away, and he should have just won that fight immediately.
Yeah.
But he was just like, blah, and then as soon as he loses, he's like on equal footing. He's like, oh right, I can't fight like this. I have to be sneaky, and like, he forgot who he was for a minute, kind of.
Yeah, which I know is your primary complaint of him every episode.
And then this guy shows up, which we now know is X.
Yep. XX.
Dos Equis.
There you go. Dos Equis, the most interesting fighter in the world. Now we cut back to the junior rank one, and we see the backstory of her being with the mysterious blue keeper that we've seen a lot. And she's like, you're a bad person. I know you have good intentions, but you sound bad all the time.
That's what she's saying. She's like, you sound bad. You're a good person, but people are going to get the wrong idea. But now, is he actually a good person or not? We don't know, but she believes he is. And
this is the part that won you over.
Which part?
Right here, where she's like, I know you don't want to hurt all these guys. And then she sees in the background a cat that probably was beaten by these thugs, and then all's forgiven.
That's kind of what I thought. I'm like, am I understanding that correctly? That's why he beat them up? I think so. Or at least that's what she believes. Again, that's what she believes. That made me like, okay. And then when she's like, you got to stop talking because people are going to get the wrong idea about it. Just stop talking. And it's just more of her like yelling at him and being like, shut up, I'll kill you. Except then later we find out, oh no, that's true. Because then he shows up and doesn't say anything at all. And she's like, you can talk now. And he's like, okay. And it's like, oh, they clearly have made their bond. He did listen to her, you know. So they're doing a good job of making these two maybe likable, but certainly interesting. And these are the keepers who we don't like. And,
yeah,
you know,
I was going to say it did a great job. And I love when shows do this. Breaking Bad's a prime example of like, or It's Always Sunny. These are bad people. You shouldn't root for them.
Right.
Can't help but root for them. Like right here when she was like, you could talk. I got so hyped for him. And I'm like, wait, I'm not supposed to like this guy.
Yeah. But in this context, it's like, okay, from everything we know of her, we like her. Like she seems to believe in the cause. She's not like a fake. And she, you know, she didn't take things too seriously with D, and she tried to stop the monsters and she tried to save her friend. So like in this world with her beliefs, she seems like a good person. And he's now going to avenge her. So we're like, oh, I think I'm on his side.
A plus B, yeah. The thing that I liked about this episode, and it's nothing new, it just highlighted a lot in this episode, is the whole Ranger organization. The more we find out about it, the more that the structure of the pyramid that is the Ranger organization is mostly good people. They have mostly good intentions. They believe in the cause, things like that. And then at the very top, you have the most powerful part that are like, we're horrible people. We kill whoever. We don't care about anyone but us.
And that's what I was saying. Actually, again, going back to my mom, I was like, yeah, it's like, because I was saying, like, these people that are trainees aren't necessarily bad. I said, it's kind of like Scientology, where, like, you know, like anybody could get involved and think they're doing the right thing. And then you get to the top and you're like, what is happening? Like, you know?
There you go.
But
Rangers and Scientology, you heard it here first.
But having said that, like I said, everything we just said, I just remembered there was a scene with all the keepers and their primary backup or first, whatever, where Red killed his for daring to suggest that maybe he wasn't doing a good job. And she was in the room for that. So is she complicit? Is she plotting something different? Or, you know, maybe she wouldn't have killed him, but like, so as I was saying, like, she's a good person. I'm like, wait, I forgot about that. She didn't.
I think that's another case, though, similar to the argument I made for XX earlier, where it's like, what are you going to do there?
Right. Well, I guess maybe we'll see a conversation later where she's talking to Blue about like, hey, that was kind of messed up, right? Like, but yeah, I don't know.
I think from what we've seen of her so far, it seems like she is trying to be, to quote Star Wars, the spark that ignites the flame, that burns the rebellion, whatever. And like in the Keepers, that's maybe her thought process. Whereas like most of them are bad. Red's for sure bad. She can kind of get Blue to turn around, and then maybe she can get everybody else to be more noble. Who knows?
I guess we'll find out. Well, hopefully we'll find out.
We have referenced so many other properties in this review. I realize we're on like our 8th one right now.
You referenced It's Always Sunny in Philadelphia, which
It's Always Sunny, My Hero, Chainsaw Man, Scientology, Naruto. What did I just do? Star Wars, Action Activate. That's all you need. That's the quote. That's the description.
So the attack blasts down to get in, and you see X get hurt again, and then Blue's like, "Oh, you're the monster. I see you." Didn't see D get hurt, and then starts coming after them, but they're just running. They're just running, and that's cool. Like the run with the sand. Like I don't have time to heal myself. I just got to run.
Well, also the divine artifact makes it where they can't really heal as much.
I don't know, but they weren't hit from the divine artifact there. I don't think. I mean, like tertiary. I think it was like I'm blasting a big hole down, and the big blast just got him. Like, but it wasn't.
I know at one point, like she can't regenerate her arms.
That's
I remember
later,
that.
Yes.
Okay.
But that was more of a direct. I'm attacking with the divine artifact. This I think was like I knocked down a wall, and that was a big thing that you got hurt from. Like that's how I took it.
Yeah. Right here we get to see the first torture scene of the anime.
Yes. And I like that but I also like that it didn't show Blue as incompetent, because there's this idea like everybody's fighting these dusters and acting like the real monsters and stuff and like whatever. And Blue's like, look, I know there must be a boss. There's no way you did this. Like, and then, I'm going to torture you because you won't die, and tell me where the boss is.
And this is the thing that I found interesting, is we saw D get his head cut off like 20 times in a previous episode.
Yes.
And he was more annoyed by it. Whereas this, every time she was hit, she was in like legitimate agonizing pain. So that made me think, is D just like super tough and like
no, they explain it in this scene.
Okay, I thought they did, but I miss it. Can you re-explain it for myself
Blue
and viewers
says,
at
I'm
home?
paraphrasing, but Blue says something to the effect of like, you can't be destroyed, but you feel pain like we do. And you want to be out of this pain. And says, as long as your head is attached to your body, you're going to feel all this pain. So D getting his head chopped off, it's like, oh, that was annoying. But if you like stab him a bunch like this, it would probably hurt him just as much as it hurts her. That's how I think.
He's been blasted a ton though.
And he's been hurt. Remember, he had the hole through him, and he was like crawling and like, maybe he's tougher than the average duster, but they explain it. If head getting cut off, not a big deal.
Got it.
Being attacked with your body being damaged while your head's still attached, that's where the pain connection is.
I wonder why she has that marking around her neck as well.
I wondered that too.
Yeah.
Like, is there something like, yeah.
But here we are. We see just him being maniacal. I
Anyway,
love the color contrast of that whole scene, by the way.
The blue and the red, yeah.
Yeah, it's just so gnarly.
Agreed.
But yeah, we see a lot of torture, this and that. It flashes back to her, and the boss monster healing.
It does seem like she's somewhat grateful, even if she's like maybe questioning what he's doing. It's like, oh, look, he gave me a name, because she didn't have a name, which is weird, because like D has a name. Like, how did she have no name?
Because she is from the planet. She's not from this like colony, it seems. Because all of them coming down, I think they got their names after the fact, after they were like colonized as like Sunday Showdown like workers.
So you think when they were on the ship with the bosses flying to Earth, none of the fighters had names?
I don't know, because we don't know the origin. Maybe they were birthed on there like putties. Who knows?
How they're created is not my point. My point is, do you think humans named them? Do you think dusters named themselves after years of boredom on Earth? Or do you think the boss monsters named them?
I think it's a combination of potentially the boss monsters or themselves, because all of the names are so generic. A, B, C, D, E, F. Like, it seems like...
That's why it makes me think that's what the boss monsters would call them. But if that's true, I guess I'm trying to figure out like how she is created and doesn't have a name, and they're created and do. And you're thinking, well, they got their names on Earth, and she's from the home planet. But yeah, but she's still on Earth. What situation resulted in her being on Earth and them being on Earth and them having a name and her not having a name?
I think when they initially came down, they didn't necessarily have names if they were created around that time, because we don't know how old D is. We just know he's been on Earth for as long as the conflict's been going on.
6 years or whatever it's been.
Yeah. So all we know is that very, Star Wars clone kind of energy where they're adults full functioning, but they're really like 4 years old. And with this, I think because she was separated and stuck in there for so long, she maybe got lost in the cracks and never had a name, and she just knows she's a monster, and that's it.
That's plausible. I have another theory that while you were talking, what if the boss monsters have their own minions, their own dusters, and they name them?
Maybe.
And maybe her boss was killed. This isn't her original boss. She's not like, oh, it's good to see you again.
I think it might be him because of the markings on his neck and her neck.
I mean, I thought that too, but then, then why doesn't she have a name? I guess I was thinking that she lost her name and then he gave her a new one.
Maybe. I don't know. Again, another thought-provoking part of the show.
It is a good point about the marks on her neck, though, which is funny, because when they'd referred to her as X somewhere before she got her name, and I'm like, yeah, X, and then, oh wait, no, we never actually heard her name, did we? Like, okay.
Yeah. Also, what was I going to say about the duster part? Yeah, because then when she gets damaged, she goes back to like a true duster form.
But she has like this intermediate form, whereas like, is that some other human you're imitating badly with like the eyes? Like, I thought she was like a slightly different type of monster, but yeah, when she gets damaged enough, then regular duster. But then here comes Fighter D using his Buster to like smash the whole thing with like a plausible deniability of like, oh, I thought you were hurting my teammate. And like, it's a good double entendre where he's like talking about protecting his teammate no matter what the cost, meaning the other monster, but it's also like his little Afro buddy. And like, it's good plausible deniability, which also brings up the fact that the only person other than Yellow who's like sort of on his side that knows he's a duster was the little blue guy who seemingly is dead, or if not dead, in a coma, whatever. So now his cover is secure once again.
Yeah. Yeah, I liked this part because again, it goes back to he's playing his own angle, and we also see XX kind of change her tune a little bit by the end of the fight as well.
Great. Well, when she sees that, like, D is willing to step up for her, and he's not this coward, he's just sort of playing a game and trying to.
Yeah.
And he does take a big strike. This is what you were talking about last episode, where he's like, I'm summoning everything to do this one hit. And I just took it as him, like, yeah, just like psyching himself up and psyching the enemy out. I didn't think has anything to do with the Buster weapon. I think that is just D being an enemy character.
Yeah.
He
but
does
yeah,
pretty well for a while.
Yeah, this one, this is hard to talk your way out of, though. when you're going straight for the head there on a keeper, you're like, I don't know how you're talking around this now.
Because he's, I don't know. I don't know how they're going to resolve this. And
so my understanding of it was, this is him blowing his cover, thinking he can beat Blue. Like the combined mind of them, they can't.
I thought that, but like, there's no way he could beat Blue. Like, how would he, I mean, I guess he's just being delusional.
Because they both were. Because then she's like, oh, we for sure can't. He's stronger than I thought. So then she plays into his cover story and like kind of morphs back. So he again has plausible deniability of like, oh, you were noble going after your teammate if you want. Because she before was just like, I'm gonna kill every human. He's like, don't do that now, but I agree. And now she's like, oh, I'm gonna lose. He still has a chance of winning our mission or completing our mission, kind of thing. Robo Knight, you have a mission to fulfill. And kind of again plays into it where she tries to cover for him as best she can while also trying to take out Blue.
Yeah, I think I think he still has some level of plausible deniability. Definitely that he's a duster. Like maybe they might say you're a traitor, human, but definitely he didn't blow his duster cover. But even that, I think depending on how this plays out and what Blue does next, because Blue might be kind of going off the grid and hog wild. So it might be one of those things where like, yeah, Blue, whatever. He needed to stop you because of, it could be one of those things. But this is what you're talking about where Blue pulls out the divine artifact, but makes these little bubbles and one of them pops and X can't heal her arms.
Mm-hmm. Which again, that was kind of cool. I kind of like that effect. Yeah,
that's kind of more scary than like the big blast coming at you. Like, oh, here's a bunch of little glowing fish. Don't let it blow up and touch you.
Yep, exactly. Reminded me of the crystals from Wild Force.
Yeah. I also like how D has gotten so good at just dodging and avoiding because he can't let people see him get hit. So it's like, he's like the master escape artist at this point.
Yep. Yeah. Again, I really like this part. We see XX turn into a true duster before.
Still has long hair though. Still has that like girl hair.
Yeah, which I thought was cool.
But it does make me wonder if different bosses have slightly different underlings. Like maybe she is a little bit stronger than him in a different way, or has her own unique form when she wants to. Or
we'll have to see if they put XX on her shoulder. Our whole naming convention argument is moot. If she doesn't, then there's a lot of possibility.
So does he not get away at the end of this? She's like, you gotta, she sells her long. I understand what you're saying about the arm, by the way, but I don't see it there.
I don't either.
I forget how this ends. Does it just end like this, where like, okay, Blue's
continued, like the fight's not done.
Oh, for some reason I was thinking he was hiding, but like no, Blue's just like right on top of him.
Yeah, like all right, let's go, and then to be continued.
Right, which explains why I'm excited for the next episode.
Exactly, same here. But yeah, overall, super solid. At the end credit scene, Blue says, we're going to find out more about me. And they're like, what are you talking about? Why are you in this end credit? And he's like, ha, it's my first one. Something like that. But yeah, solid. Looking forward to the next episode, which I know for you haven't said that in a while.
I expect this to be a ramp up of like excitement until 12 and then being like, come on. That's kind of what I anticipate at this point.
Yeah. But again, solid. Highly recommend the show. Appreciate everybody watching who has watched this far, because now we're 9 episodes deep into this series, and
going to 12 at least. After that, after that we're going back to Mystic Force. But as far as like, pardon me, in the future, who knows? Yeah.
But I know.
One other thing is that Rail Riders trailer has dropped for the new episode, so that's going to be coming soon too.
Did you watch that?
I did not watch the trailer. I know it's out, but I kind of don't want to. I kind of want to just watch the episode, to be honest.
For sure. Me too. I totally watched the trailer, though.
Well, but what I was going to say is the plan is to go through to 12 and then go back to Mystic Force. But if Rail Riders drops anywhere in there, we'll do Rail Rider.
Yeah. But before we finish this series, just because time is a continuous locomotive, as it were, we will be at Power Morphicon. So honestly, we might do episode 12 in the hotel room the way this works out. Who knows?
That is absolutely possible.
Yeah, we'll have to see. We're definitely, I'm not going to overcommit because Gaz loves when I do that, but we will definitely have time sensitive, released as recorded stuff from Morphicon itself.
Time sensitive? What do you mean?
Like if something happens on Friday when we're there, we're releasing it Friday. If something happens Saturday,
have a fully edited, beautiful. Here's our adventure at Morphicon, but it might be like a quick clip of like, "Whoa, look what we just saw!" Blah 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 blah. Like, yeah.
There's going to be a large influx in content then, and then these kind of reviews we might space out simply because you'll have enough of us at that point in time.
Yeah.
But until that time, I have been the Big Dog.
And I continue to Gazbot.
And to the Power. See y'all later. Bam, bam, bam. So, Easter eggs from last episode. So I heard for Kaiju number 8 that either one of the main characters or actual Kaiju number 8 itself, that there's a best selection version of the figure that's only $35 that may be at local retailers.
Oh, is it like less accessories, or it's more just like main character to get you into the line the way they do with Naruto?
I think both. I think it'll probably have less faces and less hands if I had to guess. Like I have this.
You have it?
No. I have this, which is that, but for One Piece.
Right.
He comes with less faces and no additional piece, but he's half the price.
I'd have to see what I'm missing. Because if it is the thing where I'm going to get into it, it might be like, oh, but he doesn't have his like Gubo blaster, which is such a part of him, or
No, I think it's a thing because I've seen the regular release of it where he has like a bunch of goofy faces. Where if they only gave you like 2, I'd go sure. You can keep your $30. I'll just take that one.
Show, I'll be able to look at them and decide which,
or read the manga.
Yeah, whichever comes first.
Yeah.
Right.